I see you doing that.
Don't ever put the tin foil over top. Now that's lots of cheese.
Welcome back, everyone. I thought it'd be fun to take you along on making some healthy dinner ideas because I am always stumped on what to make for dinner, and I always want an easy, healthy, delicious tasting dinner. But again, the key word is easy because I don't have a ton of time in the kitchen at night, and not many do. So I wanted to take you along on making 3 comforting, healthy dinner ideas for those cold winter days because here in Canada right now, we have had so much snow and so many snowstorms. It has snowed close to 60 centimeters in less than 24 hours, which is absolutely insane. So those comforting meals are key right now. And to start off these healthy dinners, I thought it would be great to make a crock pot meal because I was actually going out this day to do a few errands. So I wanted to throw something in the crock pot and just have it ready for as soon as we get home. And roast beef is one of my go-tos because all you need to do is just do the roast beef, cut up some potatoes, cut up some carrots, add some spices into the crock pot, and pretty much call it a day. So today I ended up just seasoning the roast beef with some salt and pepper, and then I cut up some carrots and potatoes, and then I add whatever spice you want into the crock pot. This time I used thyme, oregano, and parsley, but you can always play up the flavors. Like you could do garlic, parsley, whatever you really want. I always like to brown my roast beef too, just in a pan, and then I just season it, like I said, with the pepper and salt and a bit of oil. And a little interesting fact is if you are cooking anything on high or medium temperatures on the stove, always opt for avocado oil because avocado oil has a high smoke point, meaning that it can tolerate heat better, because there are some oils like olive oil and coconut oil that can't necessarily handle a very high heat, and what can happen is it can oxidize and create these things called free radicals, and free radicals can contribute to inflammation within our body and wreak havoc when it comes to hormone health. So we as ladies especially need to protect our hormones, especially throughout our menstrual cycle and just all of them all together. So that is a little key tip, is to cook with avocado oil at high temperatures. So I did that with the meat, and then I'm just adding in some vegetable stock, beef stock. I would love to make my own bone broth eventually, but I have yet to actually even make a pot of bone broth ever. So if you have any tips or tricks or a really go-to recipe when it comes to making your own bone broth, then please send it my way because I would love to make some up, and then I think you can put it in the freezer or maybe even just store it in the fridge. But I think that would be a really good addition to add into the crock pot instead of the beef stock because it is filled with nutrients. But for now, I have just used some beef stock, and then I just added the meat, the potatoes, the carrots, and all of the spices, and I'm just putting it on high heat for about 4 to 6 hours. It was more towards the 6-hour mark by the time we actually ate it, and it was cooked perfectly. Now I'm moving on to making lasagna, and I know lasagna is not necessarily the easiest meal to make, but it is so comforting and hearty, and it's just such a delicious dinner. And I was craving just a really comforting, like filled dinner, and this just brings me back to being like a kid and my mom making the most delicious meal and the most delicious dinner for us. So it just brings all the good family feels, and I know my family of 4 absolutely loves this healthy dinner, and it's so comforting. So my little one, who is almost 1, which actually she's 10 months, so I'm not going to rush time, but she loves it too, and my son, who is 3, absolutely loves it. So if you are looking for a family friendly dinner idea that's perfect for these cold days, I do suggest putting lasagna on your menu, because even though it does take a little bit of extra time to make, you could make 1 or 2 batches of it, put them in the freezer, and then you have it again for the next week or whatever for some easy meal prep. But it was actually pretty easy, and I do enjoy the process of making lasagna. It is fun. So I found this one recipe and it's absolutely delicious, so I'm going to post it down below. I followed it loosely. I did change it up a little bit when it comes to the cheese and stuff like that, but for the most part, I followed most of it. So I really just browned the meat again. I added my spices in, my chopped onions, and then for the sauce, I just mixed a few things together. I mixed a pasta sauce together and then some crushed tomatoes. I think it asked for tomato paste, but I ended up not using tomato paste. I just actually used extra crushed tomatoes because my mom has always given me the tip that always add more sauce than you think for lasagna. That way it comes out so tasty and comforting rather than like a hard lasagna noodle. You know how sometimes you make lasagna and then the noodles just crust up so much? Well, she always tells me it's because there's not enough sauce. So I used a bunch of sauce and then I just tossed in the beef in the sauce and I mixed it all up and it was so good. And then I just also added the cheeses together. There was 4 different cheeses. I believe there was 4. It was like Parmesan, mozzarella, and another type of cheese, and then I mixed it all together and I just spread it. Oh, ricotta, that is the main cheese ingredient, but I mixed it all together and then I just layered it on to the lasagna noodles. Also, I had a little helper here in the kitchen and she grabbed cheese so quick. I think, like I said, she absolutely loved this meal and she is a little cheese monster. So she loves anything with cheese and noodles and beef. Oh my goodness, she just loves any type of meat you give her. She just devours it. So I think this has probably been her new favorite meal. So I think I'll be making some lasagna, well, lots of lasagna in the future for my kiddos and for my husband. So again, if you want a comforting meal, it is so worth the time. I know some people will make like homemade noodles too for their lasagna, and I wish I could dedicate the time to do that. But right now I bought the store-bought noodles and it was just absolutely delicious. So I think it is worth trying to make the lasagna.
You give me this energy. It is like you set me free. Chasing highs to stay alive. But if I'm with you, I'll survive. So hold me close into the night, 'cause I need you to stay. You take me to paradise, that's why it's hard to wait. Can I be around you for motivation? Just a little while now. A simple question, can I get closer? Just for motivation.
So the next recipe I'm making is shrimp tacos, and I know in my mind shrimp tacos usually yells summer to me, and maybe that's partially the reason why I made it. Maybe I'm just dreaming of summer right now amongst this crazy snowstorm, but it's also a comforting dinner idea, I feel like, because it just brings comfort, whether it's just the thought of summer around the corner or a long time around the corner. But it is a tasty, delicious dinner, and it's super healthy for you because it does have the shrimp in it, and that is really rich in omega-3 fatty acids, and omega-3 fatty acids really help combat any inflammation. So that inflammation I was talking about earlier, when it comes to hormone health, inflammation can help support your hormones and just do wonderful things when it comes to your health overall. So I do like to cook with shrimp whenever I can. You can throw it into pastas, into salads, into quinoa bowls, into bowls in general, but the way I like to use it is in shrimp tacos. So I either buy the store-bought packaged mix of coleslaw, which is super easy to use, or you can just shred up your own cabbage, but I just added some freshly squeezed limes into it and some olive oil, and it is so tasty mixed on a wrap with some shrimp and some mayo lime dressing.
Maybe I was confused, or did you feel it too? In that room, it suddenly just felt like it was me and you. 'Cause I forgot.
Everyone for watching. I hope you all have a beautiful day and enjoy some of these comforting dinners.